Demented cruelty. The Supreme Court of the United States legalizes discrimination against transgender minors. So the question is, who is next? Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graphs Grievances starts right now. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court of the United States upheld a Tennessee law that bans gender-affirming medical care for transgender minors. That means no puberty blockers, no hormone therapy, no chance for a young person in Tennessee to live a life that aligns with their identity, if that identity doesn't meet the state's approval. The conservative majority dismissed the challenge brought by transgender adolescents and their families, who argued rightfully that the law violates the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of equal protection. Chief Justice John Roberts, writing for the majority, made the baffling claim that this law doesn't discriminate based on, quote, transgender status. Instead, he argued it simply targets the diagnosis of gender dysmorphia. Let's be clear. Gender dysmorphia is not just a label. It is a medical condition recognized by every major medical organization, and one that is treated with, you guessed it, puberty blockers and hormone therapy. To say a law bans treatment for gender dysmorphia but doesn't discriminate against transgender people is patently absurd. It's like saying a law that bans insulin isn't targeting diabetics. This isn't just a legal contradiction, it's a moral one. The American Academy of Pediatrics immediately condemned the ruling. Their president, Dr. Susan Cressley, said it plainly, quote, "To be clear, regardless of today's legal ruling, the science still supports gender-affirming care. Children will still need it." This isn't about medicine, it's about politics. The court has decided that elected officials, most of whom have no medical training and often traffic in anti-trans rhetoric, should dictate what care doctors can give to their patients. This is not liberty. This is not limited government. This is not what the Constitution promises. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, in a blistering dissent, called out the court from, quote, retreating from meaningful judicial review exactly where it matters most. She said the court was abandoning transgender children and their families to the political winds. She read her dissent aloud from the bench, a rare and solemn act meant to signal profound disagreement. The justice said she did it, quote, in sadness. And sadness is the right word, because this ruling isn't just wrong, it's heartless. Interestingly, MAGA Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, in a solo concurrence, actually admitted that the Tennessee law probably does discriminate based on transgender status. But he said he's fine with it. He argued such discrimination shouldn't trigger heightened scrutiny, the legal standard courts use when evaluating laws that impact vulnerable groups. Pause on that. A Supreme Court justice is saying, yes, this law discriminates, but we don't need to look too closely because these kids don't count as a protected class. This is a deeply dangerous precedent. It doesn't just affect transgender people. It opens the door for states to roll back protections for anyone deemed outside the norm. Anyone who doesn't fit into the narrow definition of acceptable laid down by right-wing politicians and judges. This ruling creates two categories of children in this country: those who can access the health care they need, and those who can't because of who they are. This is not justice. This is not constitutional. This is certainly not American. The court's conservative majority says the law treats everyone the same. It bans puberty blockers and hormones for all minors when used to treat gender dysmorphia. But think about that logic. An adolescent assigned female at birth who has a hormone imbalance can get treatment. But an adolescent assigned female at birth who wants to live as a boy, blocked, denied, criminalized. That's discrimination. Justice Sotomayor nailed it when she wrote, quote, "By depriving adolescents of hormone and puberty blockers only when such treatment is inconsistent with a minor's sex, the law deprives minors identified as male at birth of the same treatment it tolerates for adolescent identified as female at birth, and vice versa." In other words, the law is not neutral. It is a carefully crafted attack on the ability of transgender youth to live full lives. It tells kids you can have medical care unless it's to help you be who you are. Attorney General Pam Bondi, celebrating the decision, posted this: "I applaud today's Supreme Court decision that allows states to protect vulnerable children from genital mutilation and other so-called gender-affirming care that leaves children permanently disfigured and scarred." What is wrong with her? Who would compare life-saving care to mutilation? Who would ignore science and vilify families trying to support their kids? It's sick. What kind of person takes joy in making someone else's life harder? Trans kids aren't hurting anyone. Their families aren't forcing their beliefs on anyone else. They just want to survive, to grow, to become happy adults. And yet, instead of compassion, they are met with contempt by Republicans. Instead of understanding, they are met with legal barriers. Instead of protection, they are met with hatred. This ruling will cost lives. Left untreated, gender dysmorphia leads to depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicide. The people who wrote and defended this law know that. They know this ruling will hurt people. They just don't care. Or worse, they do care, and the harm is the point. This is bigger than Tennessee. More than 20 states have passed similar bans on gender-affirming care for minors. And now, thanks to this Supreme Court ruling, those bans are protected legally. When the government decides who can access healthcare based on identity, not need, we are no longer a free society. When a child has to flee their home state just to get medicine, that is not freedom. When the Supreme Court ignores the Constitution to appease political extremists, that is not justice. America is supposed to be better than this. Thank you for watching Graf's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please consider supporting my channel via the Venmo link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and join me tomorrow for more.